My mom's boyfriend saw me alone at home, and then I did this, which I felt very weird. I was back from school for winter break when I met my mom's new boyfriend for the first time. My parents had divorced when I was 5, so the idea of her dating wasn't new or emotionally jarring. But I hadn't expected how this meeting would hit me. He wasn't just any guy he was striking. The striking that grabs your attention and holds it before you even realize what's happening? When I opened the door that night, the cool evening air brushing against my skin, he stood there, a tall, athletic figure. His presence seemed to fill the entire doorway. His posture, casual yet confident, sent an odd twinge through me. He wasn't just my mom's boyfriend, he was a personal trainer, and it showed. His physique was one you'd expect to see on a fitness magazine cover: six-pack abs, broad shoulders, the kind of muscles that made everything he wore seem too tight, as if they might burst through at any moment. "Is your mom here?" he asked me. His voice was deep yet friendly, catching me off guard. It took me a second to respond, too caught up in his easy confidence. "She's out right now," I said, my voice sounding a little softer than usual. "But you can come in. I'm sure she won't be long." I opened the door wider, inviting him inside, trying to act casual while feeling the strangest mix of emotions. I wasn't sure if it was my curiosity, the excitement of being back home, or something else entirely. As he stepped into the house, I noticed the warmth of the room contrast with the chill outside. I could feel a slight tension building, though I didn't fully understand it. I busied myself with grabbing a couple of glasses from the kitchen and poured some soft drink, hoping to break the weird sense of anticipation that seemed to fill the space. 2 hours passed. We had talked about everything and nothing about my school, his work, and life in general. His words flowed easily, and I found myself listening more intently than I had with anyone in a while. But beneath the surface, there was something else happening, a subtle shift. As the minutes ticked by, the conversation started to feel like more than just casual small talk. There was an unspoken energy between us that neither of us acknowledged aloud, but it was undeniably there. I caught myself glancing at him more than once, my eyes tracing the curve of his jawline and the way his shirt stretched across his chest when he leaned back. It was almost hypnotic, and I felt a slight flutter in my stomach, a feeling I couldn't quite place, but it was hard to ignore. The soft drink also didn't help. With each sip, the air in the room seemed to get a little heavier, and the space between us felt charged. I couldn't tell if it was the drinks, the dim lighting, or the way his voice sounded in the quiet house, but something was pulling me in. Yet, I tried to stay grounded, reminding myself of the boundaries that were supposed to exist between us. Then, the silence stretched out for a moment, just long enough for me to feel the weight of it. Without thinking, I gently placed my hand on his knee, as if testing the waters, seeing if the tension I felt was mutual. It was just a touch, a soft, fleeting gesture, but it sent a jolt of awareness through me. His eyes met mine. For a moment, everything froze. The weight of that glance held us in place, as if we were both standing on the edge of something. I could see it in his expression, he felt it too. There was a hesitation, a moment of uncertainty, as if we were both silently acknowledging that something had changed between us. The air felt thick with unspoken words. But just as quickly, I withdrew my hands, suddenly unsure of myself. The rush of emotions was overwhelming: curiosity, attraction, confusion, all tangled up together, making it hard to breathe. What was I doing? This was my mother's boyfriend, not someone I should be playing these games with. Yet the moment felt so real, so undeniable. He stood up abruptly, and my heart raced, wondering what would happen next. There was a tension in the air that neither of us knew how to handle. For a split second, I thought he might say something or do something that would change everything. But he didn't. Instead, he laughed a soft, awkward chuckle that seemed to diffuse the heaviness. "We should probably get some fresh air," he said, his voice steady, but his eyes still holding that same intensity. I nodded, grateful for the change of scenery, yet my mind was spinning. What had just happened? Had it even happened, or had I imagined it all? We stepped outside into the cool night air, the tension easing slightly as the breeze brushed against my skin. The stars above twinkled in the clear sky, and for a moment, the world felt vast, open, and far away from whatever had just transpired inside the house. Yet, despite the fresh air, the energy between us hadn't completely disappeared. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted, that a door had been opened, even if neither of us was willing to step through it. It left me with a strange mixture of excitement and guilt, wondering what this all meant and where it would lead. I knew nothing had happened, not really, but the feelings that had been stirred up inside me, the ones I hadn't anticipated, were impossible to ignore.